Hey guys, Marissa at KitchenTableStamper.com. It is May 29th. There are 3 days left in the Stampin' Up 2017-2018 annual catalog and in the 2018 occasions catalog. So I thought that I would pop in and just remind you, place your orders. Things sell out very quickly in the last few days of catalogs. Kitchen Table Stamper customers who place $50 worth of orders in a 6-month period get free annual catalogs where annual catalog is upon us. And this is a adorable little note card. I'm going to teach you a cute cool technique, an easy way to get great background stamp impressions while showing off some of the things that are retiring from the 2017-2018 annual catalog. So let's get started with this card. I'll talk with you a little bit about what you need to create it first. The stamp sets I'm featuring are the Badges and Banners stamp set. This is a stamp set that is retiring from Stampin' Up, and it is available while supplies last. It has a coordinating punch. This is a badge punch. I think it's called the badge punch. Let's find out. It is also retiring and while supplies last. This one is called the Best Badge Punch. And this Badges and Banners also coordinates with the Duet Banner Punch. This one's sticking around for a little bit, but they do coordinate with the stamp set. I'm using the diagonal stripe background. This I am going to dearly miss. I love this background stamp set. And you can see what a great effect you can get when you just stamp color on color. Speaking of color, all of the colors I chose for this are retiring while supplies last colors. We have Pink Pirouette. That's our card base, 8.5 by 5.5 and scored at 4 1/4. We have Rose Red for the bottom of our bird cage. It's kind of a little accent piece there, and that's Rose Red. That's available while supplies last. Same with the ink pad, the re-inker. I've got the largest stitched circle. It's die cut from Soft Sky, another retiring color. So this palette is a gorgeous palette, and the colors are available while supplies last. Got a couple of Whisper White pieces also, the largest scallop cut from the Layering Circles die set. And then I've got a piece that's about 4.5 by 2 3/4 scrap so that we can do our stamping and punching. My Stampin' pads for this project are Basic Black, Pirouette Pink, available while supplies last. I'm going to miss this one, I have to be honest. I will always be honest with you. Blushing Bride stuck around, and Petal Pink was added to the color palette, and Pink Pirouette retired, and I'm kind of sad about that. I don't care for Blushing Bride as much as I really like Pirouette Pink, and it is while supplies last. And then Soft Sky is being retired also. It's a great neutral, a soft blue. This is Baby Boy, Baby Girl right here. So get those while supplies last if you're interested. My accessory for this one is the solid Basic Black Baker's Twine, and you'll need about 6 to 8 inches for a bow. All right, so let's get started here. The first thing I want to do is show you how I do backgrounds. If you hang around Kitchen Table Stamper at all, you know that I don't ever use a block for a background stamp. I find that I miss the middle of the background. I don't get a full coverage. And for this card, so much of it shows. I mean, it is an important part of this card design. So we want to get full ink coverage with a crisp, complete image. So how I do that with a background stamp is put the unmounted background directly on my work surface, and then I like to bring my ink pad to the stamp. I find that you get best ink coverage when you bring either the stamp to the ink pad or the ink pad to the stamp. If you make them meet in mid-air like a cymbal monkey, you're going to get spotty coverage. It's just the way it goes. If you've got a firm foundation, you're sitting one of the, either the stamp or the ink on a firm flat surface, you are going to get the best ink coverage. Best ink coverage is going to help get you the best possible stamped image. So there is our fully inked background, and we're going to now take our card base And you're gonna hold the card so that it opens the way it should, and then end over end, you're gonna flip and lay it on top of the background stamp. Then I add a piece of scratch paper over the top and take a block. This is just one of the images that I have blocked up, ready to go. It's one of the acrylic blocks. And you're going to just apply pressure and slide the block across. You're gonna build up a little static. It might feel like the scratch paper is moving a little bit. It's okay. The card underneath is staying put. Now the last thing I'll do is with my fingertips, I'll just go in a circular motion along the center of the image to make sure that I didn't miss any coverage. Now we're gonna pick up our card. Perfect background every time. We didn't miss the center. There's no faded edges. It's crisp edge to edge and in the center too. All right, so set that aside and let it dry for a second. And since I've got my snail adhesive right here, we're going to go ahead and adhere the Soft Sky to the Whisper White die cuts. We can set those aside for a second, just let our card base dry a little bit longer. And let's get that scratch paper back in here because we're gonna stamp off the edge of our Whisper White. We'll keep our stamping area clean here. All right, so Whisper White and basic black ink. I'm gonna show you a fun little technique here. Now, if you notice, I don't know if you've noticed, on my sample, my bird cage is longer and I've got the banner across the cage, but it doesn't block my little birdie and it still allows my pretty rose red accent to hang out. So let me show you how I went ahead and altered this bird cage to make it fit my needs. I wanted a longer one, so it's pretty simple. What I want to do is stamp my badge one time, and we're going to stamp it complete. Then we're going to stamp just the bottom of the bird cage. So I'm inking half the stamp. Do you see the stamp's half off the ink pad here? And I'm just inking up. And then we're going to stamp. We got to watch the orientation of the punch. We're going to stamp, since we don't have a whole image, I'm going to stamp off the edge here. And we've got half a bird cage. So we've got a bird cage and a half. Since we've got our best badge punch here, we're going to go ahead and punch those two pieces out. So you want to get a nice even border all the way around. There's our half. And then here we want to punch out our full bird cage with a nice even border all the way around. And we'll put those little guys aside because we still need a greeting. I've got a little hello. Let's go ahead and ink that guy up. We'll stamp it in the scrap and set it aside to dry for a second. We'll punch that one out soon. Now back to our little rose red scrap and our little bird cage image. We're going to, again, ink just the bottom half of the stamp and stamp the bottom half on the rose red. All right, let's clear away the ink pad. We don't need basic black or pirouette pink anymore. Pink pirouette. But we do need our Soft Sky. Before we get to that though, let's do a little fussy cutting here and allow our grading just another minute to dry. We're going to cut this little accent piece, the rose red piece, on the line. We're cutting off the bars of the bird cage. Get rid of those. Then we're going to cut down the side right on the line. Then we're going to cut not the first line but the second line. We're going to cut that bottom there and we're going to go along this little swoop, cutting right on the line. Pretty simple fussy cutting. We're going to paper piece this rose red piece right back onto our Whisper White bird cage. So we'll do that real quick. Move that over. Get this in the picture. All right, so half a bird cage. We want to glue this to the bottom of our half bird cage. A little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue will do ya. And you want to tuck it right in so that the black line that you were cutting on, the rose red, is lined up the same coordinating black line on your half a bird cage. Now, we're going to bring in our full bird cage and we're going to take a thin bead of multi-purpose liquid glue, and we're going to extend the length of our bird cage by a good 1/4 of an inch. So now we've made a bird cage that will allow our banner to go across the bars but not cover our pretty little detail and not cover our cutie little bird either. So set that aside for just a second, let it dry, bring in a little hello, and we need a aqua painter and some soft sky ink. We're gonna ink up the cover of the ink pad and open. Then we're gonna make a water wash in the cover of our ink pad. You just wanna squeeze the brush and add a little water, but we want it to be somewhat saturated. It's gonna dry lighter than it is. Give the brush a squeeze, and then you're just gonna swipe a watercolor wash on that banner. Okay, and now I'm going to step away from the banner because I tend to want to just blend things all to the nicest shade of medium you can imagine. So we want some of that, you know, highs and lows. We want to leave some white areas. It's subtle. Let's see if I can get the light on that a little bit more, but you can see that the wash is very subtle. It's darker here, it's non-existent here. That's what you want, and I tend to want to wash the whole thing out, so control yourself. I'll control myself. All right, let that dry for a second before we punch it. Let's add some multi-purpose liquid glue on the back of our Whisper White scallop. Now you'll notice I've avoided about a finger width on the side here because we're going to allow this little scallop piece to just hang off our card slightly. We want it about a 1/4 of an inch from the bottom and with about a 1/4 of an inch overhanging the side here. Give that glue a second to set and get the banner punch in here. So now you'll notice that it punches 2 banners, so we're gonna have to cut a little closer here so that we can get our hello into the punch. There's a little too much scrap around the bottom. No big deal though. We'll trim, put it in. We're looking for that even border again before we punch. It's still not even. And getting closer. There. And we'll give a little squeeze, pop out our banner. So cute. We're getting there. Get the scratch paper and the scraps out of the way here. All right, so I hope you've learned something kind of fun in, you know, modifying the size of this bird cage. You can apply that concept to any image that you have and really just customize your images, make them your own. And now we're gonna take some multi-purpose liquid glue and scribble a bit on the back of our bird cage and adhere it to the left of the center, because our scallop goes off the edge of the card. I told the girls we did this in paper and ink cards last week, and I told the girls, I said, you know, we're gonna try a couple of different things here. We're gonna modify our image so that it fits the way we want it to. We're gonna just make a bigger bird cage, and we're also going to color outside the lines, go outside the borders. I said crafty girls do what they want, and so sometimes what we want to do is cut the edge off the circle, let it flow organically off the edge of the card. It's okay. All right, so I hope that this project, simple as it is helping you to see some possibilities and take your paper crafting in a new direction or to a different level. Maybe modify some stamp images, make them the size you want them, or you know, cut off the edges, color outside the lines, and cut a little basic black solid baker's twine bow here. I think the tails on that one's a little bit long. Hold on, we're gonna cut them shorter on both sides. Well, maybe not. Maybe my sample's got a pretty big bow on it. Oh well, we're gonna go a little bit smaller on this one. That's okay. Okay, I like that little bow. We need a glue dot to add that. Okay, paper piercer. When I add a thin little fiber like this, I fold my glue dot, place the glue dot where I want the knot of the bow, put the bow on the glue dot, and then pull the paper piercer away. Gives you good placement and completely covers that glue dot. All right, last step here. I'm gonna get some mini dimensionals. I'm gonna put one on each end of the banner and one in the center. I don't like saggy centers. I love the minis though. You can really spread out the adhesive with that small shape. All right, then we're gonna add our banner, making sure that the tail of the banner doesn't cross the edge of the card and that we still see just a little bit of the bars and all of that pretty little rose red. All right, so there's our little hello note card. If you've got any questions about the project or if there's anything I can do to help you stay crafty, email me, Marisa at kitchentablestamper.com.